So, dear ladies and gentlemen, it's very nice to see you today or tonight. As you know, we have a special meeting, and this meeting is it's really organized with purpose because we had few meetings with our partner and friend, Professor Dan, and because he is so good in explanation of hard topic, because it is pretty heavy topic, to simple people on simple way. And as we always said in our presentations, we not need to be experts about blockchain, like we not need to be experts for electricity to use benefits of electricity. So, but we need to understand some things, because more I personally understand about blockchain, my belief is higher that this is the way, okay? So, and I'm really proud and happy, and I appreciate Dan's time. We are now already for some time together, and he's always with us on VIP trips, and I must say, as a qualified regular member. So he's our friend, our counseling partner, our member, and our knowledge source about blockchain technology and cryptocurrency. Today, we will have some basic 50-55 minutes long training, but I'm pretty sure that we will have some serious English trainings as we grow as a community in English language, with some specific things as we have it also in Croatian language when we have base of our network. So, dear Professor Dan, and before you start, I want to say that Professor Dan is scientist, one of pioneers in that technology, and because he's one of pioneers, he's also in front in that technology. He's counselor for many companies, not just companies, but also institutions, and he's a regular professor on 2 universities in West Europe about that topics. So, Mr. Dan, thank you. The microphone is yours.
Okay, thank you, and I'm really happy to having you me there on your meeting. Not this one, just also on the previous meetings that we had, as we said, on the Croatian, on different kind of languages. But this one I will try to speak on a language that I normally use for the blockchain and the crypto on a daily basis, except beside the German language, of course. Just a few words about me. Yes, thank you for this introduction and for the invitation, actually, in these courses. We will start with this session and the next few sessions step by step to introduce the people from Hotelium and all interesting sides and stakeholders how to prove that the blockchain actually in the background of, which is staying in the background of the Hotelium, is the right one technology that can help to make a better revenue and more wealth in the creating a new continuous value in our world. Yes, I'm kind of scientist. I'm a chief scientist here in Zug in Crypto Valley in Switzerland, dealing with intellectual property and research part of patents in the blockchain area. Last year, I filled out 4 patents in the blockchain technology worldwide, and already activated 2 for this year. It will be published during the year. We'll see. Depends on the regulatory points. Yes, I'm teaching in Rome and Munich in Germany, Rome in Italy and Munich in Germany, blockchain and crypto, and also data science, big data analytics, and also a strategy of innovation in different fields, also basic with statistics and the blockchain based, because the data and data science is in the background of the blockchain also. About 27 years in area of computer science, different kinds of projects, as I said, so many different kind of duties that I performed in the last years, in Germany, in Belgrade, in Serbia, in Switzerland, in Austria, in Italy, and so on and so on, also in England. Where I was studied bachelor and the first master from Middlesex University. I get after that in Italy, and yes, now I'm performing last 11 years so deeply the blockchain and the crypto. I'm always telling about the blockchain and distributed ledger because the technology is the basic and the ground and the core of cryptocurrency and all base crypto world that we are dealing with. Just for you to know, if you have any question, you can raise a hand or just interrupt me anytime when you want to ask something, or we can proceed a list of questions that we can deal after the session, or I can answer it in some next session. No matter, depends on you. Maybe I have to share my screen just to be sure that we are with the right topic. Is that okay? Is it fine?
Yes, very good.
Sure, thank you. That's just shortly about me. I hope that we will start with this session on, as the Vlado says, on English language, to start more sessions that we can cover how the blockchain works and what is actually the technology in the background of blockchain. It's not always just talking about a crypto, about some things. And most of us thought, yes, that's a complex, that's a complicated, that could be difficult to use. I don't know, it's a balloon, it's something that can be a fraud. So many questions are arising from different sides that we can deal with. But very simple, we'll talk about technology one by one step, just to understand what is it in the background of the blockchain, in the basic terminology words, nothing with specific complicated words. After some sessions, of course, I will give you some boring and full of theory sessions that we will, but first we have to be covered with some core knowledge about the blockchain. Let's start. We'll talk in this session and next session about blockchain, about the digital money, about the crypto. But before starting is always, as I said, a question, because the people are asking themselves if the blockchain is something that they need. What actually the blockchain is. What is the blockchain and the cryptocurrency at all? Is that something that you can just go to the kiosk or some store or some merchant point and buy to give some fiat money, some normal money, so to say, some euros, USDs, and just to buy something? Or is something different? Is it produced? Is that something that you can put in your pocket? So many questions arises. And besides that, with the blockchain comes a cryptocurrency. The crypto technology and the crypto science is something that is so many years already presented in our scientific approaches and the different kind of worlds. But in this manner, the blockchain and cryptocurrency gives some other meaning and some other mixture of knowledge that we have to know and we need to go through to be sure that we are using the right thing. We'll see what is it. Then the question is also sometimes at the beginning, at the first stage, at the point, why do I need to know about the blockchain? Is it necessary actually to need so many theory, to know such a terminology, such a, I don't know, platform, software, to read so many books, to be an expert, to use a blockchain or blockchain-based products? We'll answer on that question also, partially and maybe completely. Then the next one is, why use blockchain and cryptocurrency? Because we had what and why do I need it? But why? Is it necessary to introduce a new technology in such a kind of level of digitized world? Nowadays we have worldwide, internationally, and borderless. Why we just need something new, something called a blockchain or a crypto with these wide words? Yes, that's something new, it's a novel, it's a hype. That's right, it's still hype, but not anymore. It's something real and happens in between the different industries. It's not only just buying and then having a pile of money over the night. It's not going to happen. It never happens. And actually the question, what are the benefits of blockchain? Are we having any benefit? And if there are any benefits, what are actually means for me personally? if I'm in part of to be a beneficial party of the blockchain. If I implement, or if I just be an ordinary user of a blockchain, what should I achieve? If the achievement is something that I had to be, or something that I need to have, or just to be a part for some future, depends on the understanding on how blockchain works and what it is and where it could be deployed. And overall question, does blockchain solve something? We are talking about the problems. It's always something that we have to mention as an obstacle, as a challenge. And in most cases, when we are talking about the challenges, about the obstacles, about the errors, about something that we have to solve, the common ingredient of all these terms is mostly called with one word, a problem. We need to solve some problem. The blockchain is invented, so to say, invented or appears in the recent period of our history to solve some problems. But firstly, I want just to mention and to notice for all of you, the blockchain is a solution for a problem, but is not a problem for the overall problem or any kind of a problem. It is a helpful tool or something that can help on the different levels of our business models, our business processes, to solve or to patch different challenges and obstacles. And after that, when we patch and fill out the obstacles, then we can talk about overall solution and resolving a problem at the highest level. If we are just take a blockchain overall and just simply, yes, I will implement the blockchain in my process, be sure that you will not success. The achievement of that will be very soon by a measuring of your failings. That's the point. And it's a process, and it needs to be understood and go into this process step by step by understanding what is it and what problems could be solved by implementing and using actually a blockchain, because the implementation is in the same time also a using of the blockchain of technology. Let's go step by step. The first one, always in our minds, because the hyping, the full mouth everywhere is a Bitcoin, crypto, and so on and so on. And also, besides that is a blockchain. And the equal is always, in the most cases, putting in between. The Bitcoin is the same as the blockchain. But be sure and be pretty sure with that. It is not. The Bitcoin is not a blockchain. Why? Because the Bitcoin itself, it's currency or some digital money, or at the end, a cryptocurrency. That's something we call as a cryptocurrency at all. Versus, and by opponent of that, is a blockchain, which is a technology and also a protocol. And being technology and the protocol is consisting a part of the system, being a system itself, for itself, and could be implemented as a system. Although we are talking about technology and the protocol, but mostly by implementation in the various verticals of industries, different areas, it should be a system. It's very simple. But just to know and to remember, Bitcoin is not a blockchain. Bitcoin uses blockchain as built on the blockchain principles. That's it. Bitcoin is just a product from the family of a blockchain technology. To be simple and simplifiedly explained. Why was blockchain created? It's also a question that most of us asked ourselves. We're asking ourselves, hey, what for? Why? Who comes up to then that idea? The guy Satoshi Nakamoto? Yes. Probably yes, probably not. But is that a real person? Most of them says, no, person does not exist. This Satoshi is just someone who from some central authority who is placed and just to take money from us. From this point where I'm sitting now, I can say the Satoshi Nakamoto is a real person. And against that name sits Dr. Craig Wright. He's placed at in London at the moment, and he's a PhD of math. And some years ago, he explained with one paper, the white paper, scientific white paper, the principle of peer-to-peer transactional processing. Why is a peer-to-peer? A person-to-person, so to say, transactional processing. What's the manner of thinking about me to you or you to me, so to say, to have some transaction? Why? It's very simple. And nowadays I can go to the ATM, take some money. I don't care. I can give you money. But it's in a few cases. In the most cases, we need to perform some transaction between two persons, and how it looks like, because the currency transfer or money transfer will be one transaction between two persons. How it looks like? Let's assume that we have a person A and person B, normal, two persons, no matter, female, male, whatever. And the intention of a person A is to send 10 euros or $10 or any 10 units of some money to the person B. In current way of performing transactions between bodies, between persons, between institutions, between governments, and all other entities, they are dealing with some financial transactions, is pretty simple. The person A, with his intention to place 10 euros to the account of person B, is going through one central authority, which is called bank. The bank is a central authority who has an ability or the rule based on which is able to perform some validation process and to say, yes, the person A is the person with his real name, surname, living there and there, with account opened here or in some another bank or some other authority at that time, and on his account has enough money, means $10 or 10 euros, to send to some person B. After this step, that comes another step. The bank, with his authority and validation process performing over the person B, checked if the person B is also able to receive some amount of money from anyone, in this case from person A. If the person B has an account in some bank or in some institution based on financial transaction processing, the bank sends an amount of money to person B, not the person A, but the bank to person B. And as you can see from the slide, the bank sends amount which is a little bit less than the amount with the intention of person A intending to send to the person B.
No,
Yes? No, sorry, okay, no problem. What is this about? Why the amount is not the same? Because me as a person A, by sending to the person B some amounts, I need to put some more money on the transfer. Please, can you mute your microphone? Thank you. Please. I want to be having a dinner, I suppose. Okay, let's go after. The amount is less than the first amount because of the fees. The fees nowadays is mostly in the range of 0.5 to 5% on the worldwide level. That means from A to B person, by transferring money, the end amount the person B will have on its account after some time will be on some percentage of fee reduced. It's not only one point by taking a fee from the bank by central authority who is doing or performing the validation and authorization of transactions. It's also that the bank is actually someone called a third party, because between these two people, which are sending and receiving some amount of money, we have some party called the bank, which is a trusted, because we both trust the bank to give a validation process, to perform a validation process, and after that to take from us some amount as a fee for this transaction. This transaction is also a time consumption. It's about at least 3 days that amount should be transferred from A to B. In some cases, more than 3 days, depends on the areas and the location of person and from which bank based account need to be transferred to another account because of the restrictions of the national bank authorities, which amount could be transferred, or are there any other validation documents or regulation that need to be fulfilled before the amount will be sent to these. That means we always have a problem that we have an intermediary at some point, some institution in between two or more than two parties, which takes some time and under the trustness takes some fee from us. Depends on the type of transactions, the percentage will be lower or higher. That's the problem. Then both persons, have the same question. Why I need a new system after that? Because we use it already. We know that the banks should take some money. Yes, we have to be angry on some system that under the cover of trustness and confidence and security and privacy and availability, which are not always on the right place, took some fees from us with taking a few days, at least 3 days, to transfer amount from A to B. If there are persons A and B in the nearby, they can place the transfer directly with the cash. But if they are from Australia to United States, for instance, it's not possible. They had to use some authority. And therefore, in the 2008 and the beginning of 2009 comes the Bitcoin with the blockchain-based solution, how to make it possible to transfer some amount of money with a borderless and on a different location with a lower fees or near zero fees and in the real time without waiting for the transfer of the money or some amount of the value. What is it about? The bank and all other institutions that are surrounding in the process of transfer is just about one point: making a profit. Why is always someone in the central authority and central point that's taking a profit? From these points is the question why we place a new system in the world and have it called the blockchain from 2008 and says, okay, we introduce a new system. It will be pretty and much better, much simpler for any kind of transaction of the value. And let's see how it works and if it is really helps and makes a difference and solve our problem with our angry with some central authority in this moment with a bank. How does blockchain actually work? Let's see again with the persons. We have a person A, then we place as person B, person C and D. Just a few more, like a few more people in the cycle to be engaged and transferred about values through the system. Let's start again, simple, step by step. A person A has in his wallet or his account any kind of types storing and the value 10 euros or any kind of value. And his intention again, he's sending a 5 euro to person B. Okay, we use some technology and transfer money from A to B. Very simple. Just go follow it. What will be happened after the list is start to be created with a genesis of the amount, of the first amount that the person B has in his pocket or his wallet. Then we write down in the list just A to B sends 5 euro. Very simple. That happens as a list. The next as a step, person B want to buy something from person C, but need to pay. For instance, with an online shop, person C says, okay, that costs 3 euros. Just send me over the blockchain or your new system or any kind of transferring 3 euros. Okay, person B sends 3 euros. And again, in our list, we will place an record called, yes, an item in the list, B sent to C 3 euros. It's done. After some time, after a few days, the person C decide to make a charity to person D or any kind of other purpose, just to send 1 euro to support a person D work or make a charity or to pay something, no matter. The process is simple. Money is transferred, the value is recorded in the list by C sent to D 1 euro. And the list is completed. But as for now, as we can see, what actually happens here? We have A, B, C, D sending something and creating a list. Anyone from the finance already can see, yes, that's a simple list called, or already known for many years, especially after the Second World War, a ledger or a main book in some countries pronounced. It's a simple list with input and output. Simple ledger, nothing else. But if you look at the lists in the middle here, in between the cycle of we are performing sending and receiving money between these persons, is it already something similar that we have with the bank? There is no fees yet, but what we have a list which is stored on the central point. And someone will ask, what is the difference with the bank? The bank does not give us such a list, but he stored it anyway in some data bank, in the database. But what is the difference with your technology, with your new system? Why? how we are solving some problem with bank we already have. Then we start a next explanation on that. On the first step, how the blockchain is working is we remove the central authority in between all the cycles and start creating, copying, and distributing a copy of this ledger to each person which performs some transactions in the cycle, from A to B to C to D. Each update of it means that each ledger on each parties will be updated with the latest record or with the latest transactions that has performed. So what next? Let's assume that after this cycle, we forgot almost on the person A. Person A decided to send also some charity to person D because he saw that the person D needs some help for supporting his projects or something else. No matter. And we decided, yes, I will send to person D 20 euro. And what happens? You see the another color of the outline. It's not possible. It's not allowed. Why? Because the person A has a 10 euro in his wallet, in his pocket at the first moment. And by sending a 5 euro to person B in his pocket, in his wallet, left it just 5 euro. So that means it is not possible to send 20 euro to person D because he has no money in amount of 20 euro. He has amount only on a 5 euro. But how the system knows that is not possible and gives information to all parties that is not possible to send a 20 euro from person A to person D and could not be verified and sent over the network? Because we all, and the all parties, stakeholders, persons, institutions, which are involved in the transactional processing inside of the blockchain, knows by having the latest copy of the ledger that the state of the account of the person A is a 5 euro, not a 20 euro, and could not be verified as a transaction, and the amount could not be sent. That's simplified. And now, when we are mentioning a term, distributing a ledger between or amongst the parties, that means we have a new term of a blockchain, which is called a distributed ledger, which is the same as the blockchain. The distributed ledger is something that is not new, not appeared with a Bitcoin on 2008 and 2009 in February, when actually in 2009 the Bitcoin appears on the market with the white paper first time. The distributed is from computing science, meaning by distributing databases and distributing data amongst different parties inside of the computer networks. That leads us to new term, distributed ledger, which means also a blockchain, because as we can see in this part of the list of the ledger, that actually each transaction is connected to the previous one, and why one by one made a connection on some indexes. We will not speak this time about technology, how that performs inside of the creating blocks, but the blocks are created and connected with some rule and made a chain. That means blocks creating and delivering the chain means a blockchain or distributed ledger, because we distribute all parties inside the network. What is the main difference? As we can see, the centralized means the central authority, in our case, bank that we mentioned in our financial transaction processing, presenting a single point of failure. A controlled transfer of assets is always done by some central authority. Then all compliant to regulations are connected also to the central authority and delivered to all parties as on top of all regulations, and can limit activity on trades. Why? Because all transactions must be firstly mentioned and initialized to the central authority and then delivered through the network to other parties and to other authorities. In the opposite side, by decentralized, we have a wide variety of small networks, peers, nodes, computers, devices, no matter what they are, represent some person, some device, but they are part of the network with some digital sign. And with this digital signature, we will see in some next sessions about creating keys, the private and the public keys, how it actually is working in the behind and background. But we have decentralized topology of way of working, how the transactions could be performed between the parties inside of the system, inside of the network. That means that all information that we collect at one point will be distributed across network on the different parties. There is no middleman. The middleman means the person in the bank that is sitting as a consultant or some banker there and control each input and output of the value. It's a direct peer-to-peer trading. That means, although we do not know the person from other side, we can buy or place amount on another side by verifying through consensus protocol, which we'll see in the blockchain on the next session, one the blockchain protocol and consensus and how that works actually for. And does not store on or control assets. It's a really interesting point, because the digital money or amount of some transferred money from A to B, from B to C, is actually one asset. But what we are actually dealing between parties, we're dealing with digital information. We are not storing or control anyone assets. That means in the decentralized way of working or topology of creating a system, each of us or everyone owns their own data and is responsible for its own data. That means no one can control your data, because in the open network, in the decentralized network, all data are transparent and at the same time immutable. That means if someone tries to change at least one record at any of the ledger, it is not possible, because the blockchain will be broken at that moment. And no one can update the whole network of billions of the computers and billions of transactions from the beginning to build a new list. The list we will try to delete or to change need to be rebuilt from the beginning, from the genesis, from the first point. Just go back on the slide to explain that. If we have already a list like here, one, A has 10 euros up to these 4 transactions. If someone tries to change, the B has not be in position to send a 3 euro, but instead of that, he sent a 5 euros. What it means, this copy is already sent to A, to B, to C, to D. If we want to change this one entry, this one record, we need to change it in A ledger, in B ledger, in C ledger, in D ledger, and in all ledgers all over the network. But the network could not stop at that moment. The network is going on and working with another transaction and updated in each second, in each nanoseconds actually. And the new blocks will be created. And the broken block, when it appears at one of the nodes, means that this node will be disqualified from the network because he has an unordinary and irrelevant record in his ledger, which is not validated with all other copies of the network. It's a simple process. And that means it is not possible, just simple, to hack or to broke the list and made some changes. That's simplified, because for some calculation nowadays we have, with all computer or computing power that we have on the world, we need about 126 years to change the complete blockchain if we want to hack some record anywhere. There is also some other problems about double spending and so on, but the blockchain already solved that on a simple way. But we will talk on the next sessions about these obstacles and challenges. This one represents a whole process. Actually, we have more steps here in between two persons, in between two nodes, in between two peers in the network, describing how the process actually works between one person to another person sending some amount of money or some value, and how the transactions actually works inside of the blockchain. It's a simplified process. It's pretty more complex, but we do not need to go deeply in the technology and the math and the all programming stuff that is already built in, but just to go step by step and to see if we have here a few steps for each block. You can imagine if someone wants to hack any of these steps. That means it should be distributed on all computers all over the world. It's not so easy. It actually is not possible with this computing power at the moment. And actually how it is working. From the first beginning, we see a transaction is requested and authenticated. What that means, someone joined to the blockchain network, just making his authorization, means authentication that he is that a person which is trying to connect and to make a transaction on the network. Then he broadcasts an information to a network that he needs to make a transaction. And by that, he started creating a block. But by approaching the blockchain, he got already the latest, the biggest, the longest blockchain onto its account, to its local storage, and start building a blockchain from building one block inside of the transaction, inside of building transactions inside of one block. It could be at least one transaction inside of one block. Just to mention that at the BSV today, now here in the Switzerland, we have pushed out more than a few 100,000 transactions inside one block. And it's not anymore that just a few transactions could be placed inside. Some challenges about scalability has already been resolved. Then the block is sent to every node. I place my transaction, I want to send the money. I said, yes, I want to send money. That means, okay, everyone in the network who is interested to verify that received the information, the new block is coming. New transaction is coming inside, or more transactions, depends. then started the process of validation. The validation process is in the mining, in the proof of work principle based. And in some next session, we'll talk about mining and how it's working, and is really something that we have to perform or to use, and how that actually builds a validation of one transaction. But nodes actually validated the transaction. That means that each node has to agree that is transaction that is performing is authenticated, and the person A or person who is starting transactions exists. It happens in the so-called hash pool or a mempool, and the reward was delivered to one who is solving some mathematical puzzle or puzzle problem, because we have to compete who will be, so to say, rewarded, who will be the winner, and to say, yes, I will create the block and verify that transactions from one person, in our case, for instance, from person A to the person B is correct. And I solved with my computing power this math problem or puzzle, and I will take some fees. These fees is, in most cases, much lower than the fees we had by transferring a fiat or normal money through our central intermediary or central authority called the bank. Then, when someone receives some small amount of fees, the block is added to the existing block, and the process is doing an update. That means is distributed again to all participants inside of the blockchain, and the transaction is complete. That's the process of one transaction actually. There's so many steps, you see, more than few. Technically, programmatically, by dealing in the computer science, it's pretty complex, and so many technologies involved and built in the background. But actually, the process is really simple, like on this slide. The steps are actually concretely like these, as we can see. And go next. Just to simplify one again, we have someone start transaction. In some cases, in the most cases, actually, in the Bitcoin itself, at some other cryptocurrencies, there is something called a smart contract that create negotiation between two parties to prove the regulatory points of starting transaction. But in the Bitcoin, actually, the smart contract is built in and started automatically without necessity of starting from external so say virtual machine or any other technical issue. Then the transaction build a block. By building a block, we need to verify. We are simplifying the previous slide. By the verification, we solve the mathematical puzzle and give some reward, some fee to the winner. Then we hash. That means we are encrypting the amount and all details about the persons who are sending and receiving a wealth or a value. And actually, this hash is stored into the blockchain as data. Then we execute. That means build a new block and add to the blockchain and delivered to all parties. That means transaction, the block, and execution. And the process is build the system from the beginning, recurring process. That's a simplified process of the blockchain and how it works and how it's built, the system itself. It's pretty simplified in this time with simple words, without so many technology. We don't need to go deeper inside, but in another session, we will go step by step to describe each of these steps, how it's performed, how it's working, and how it actually looks like, and what are the benefits of that. Just a few points, you can just take it as a list. What is a beneficial sides and how the blockchain gives us points of advancing in financial institutions or financial transactions. It's about flexibility. The system is pretty flexible. That means anyone who has an entry point with his device to the network, to the internet, could be verified as someone who is part of the blockchain. Resilience and malleability are actually the, the features we'll describe in the next session about what is the malleability is really important to know, but we will describe the completely malleability by issuing a Bitcoin from one side or any kind of crypto. Then we're talking about global interoperability. Interoperability means bringing a common language, a simple unified or unique language between different parties that have to negotiate or to exchange some information on the databases in the form of data or form of data sets, but without having a special interface or special transform device or something that will convert or transform information from one side to another party to be recognized. The interoperability means that each party will recognize the new information and be able to read this information and to use it. Transparency, meaning by auditable and verifiable. That means that anyone can see the information. The information are encrypted, but transparent and open. And therefore, there is mostly no need to go inside and catch and to store some information because they're already here. It's transparent for each stakeholders, for each parties. They're already into the blockchain. Data security and privacy. Privacy is already given by hashing, by crypto technology. That means there is no reverse process by decoding, because when we once create a hash and place the data inside of the block, there is no possible still technology to decrypt technology and to give us the content inside of the payload part of the block. That means the privacy is completely secure. And the data are actually secured, meaning also that the identity of each parties, which is in the blockchain, is remain on the side of person itself, because the personal data could not be stored and viewed. There is no custody solution actually on the public blockchain that stores and manage personal identity. There are solutions that help us to manage identities with blockchain, but without storing the personal data. We cannot just decrypt a personal data and to see who is who, because it's transparent. It's a fusion of data and value. The value is an amount, but amount is presented in the data. And we having that in the mind, we are transferring actually data, and at the end party will receive some value. Smart contracts is something that is a part of the blockchain. Just to mention that smart contract does not is not originated by a Bitcoin or a blockchain. It's 1994, already presented by Hungarian mathematician Nick Szabo. Firstly presented the methods how the parties could, with a simple way, negotiate and verify the parties are eligible to do or to perform some transaction between or exchange data. It's agreement actually about the data. In a digital form, that's agreement, that's a rules placed inside one script, which is automatically started inside of the blockchain whenever the one transaction has been broadcasted and started to be built into the block. Tokenized assets, which have value in the real world. What are tokens? The crypto, the coins are already tokens. We can say just like that. But in the next session, we will talk about the tokens and tokenization process and to see actually what the difference between token and a coin and in which points are getting together on the same place and the same point. Now, just to touch a cryptocurrency and the Bitcoin itself, we already said Bitcoin is a fusion of data and money, meaning the money of the value. Bit mean as a measurement unit of data, and a coin a measurement unit of some money. That means a Bitcoin together. Probably will be simplified that just to understand what the Bitcoin actually comes from. That could be one of the explanations. There are many more definitions, but one of the simplest definition is building words of bit and coin. Trends for this year, actually already, the status of Bitcoin as an asset is widely accepted. We have so many political issues that should be overcome on the national levels. That means the national authorities should have to place their national strategies to their government bodies to accept the blockchain and the crypto as a technology, as they are part of some bodies, and then will be accepted for the payment widely. Blockchain banking will be the next step, which is expecting to be. We already have some countries that already accept a Bitcoin-based payment as a main payment in their countries. And progress of regulations for cryptocurrencies, that's also the step from the national level. We expect that progress because most of the countries already prepared the national strategies for accepting a crypto, but it's still in the phase of this decision. For instance, in the Switzerland, you can go in most of the stores and have your normal card pay with your crypto wallet, and the amount will be taken with the Swiss francs or US dollars or euros, but from your wallet will be taken the amount in the crypto. Depends, no matter which crypto you have. Mass adoption of cryptocurrency, that's expecting. If we already regulated something, that means we will mostly be in a position to use a cryptocurrency and the mass adopted. Potential development of CBDC. CBDC is central bank digital currency. It's an opposite side of Bitcoin and the crypto. It's a digital euro and digital dollar, digital yuan, digital ruble, and other currencies that the central banks issued on their national levels. It's just copy pasting the procedure that we already have with the central authorities, but just digitized without having the money in the cash form, in the normal form. I can mention that it will be based on the blockchain also, but on the stable coins, the technology that is based on the normal fiat values, the normal money that we already have in the action. Probably the digital euro will be next year active. I mean, the work bodies in the association of DI, the Digital Euro Association, and as I know, it will be next year published officially, but implementation takes time. Steady growth of decentralized finance, DeFi, means that industries and enterprises will start using the blockchain technology, and all transactions or possible transactions could be towards and focused to be used and based on the blockchain technology. The size of global blockchain market will grow exponentially. It's growing, you know, although the prices of some cryptocurrencies going down, but it's a dynamic market. It's normal, that happens in from time to time. But the global blockchain market exponentially grows already. Crypto and fintech connectivity, having all in the action will be that the crypto and normal financial technology in the industry will be connected at the base level. Will Bitcoin survive? Probably yes, probably no, who knows? But I'm pretty sure that it will. There are already issued or programmed 21 million of Bitcoins. We already mined or baked approximately 19 millions, and it in the next 2 or 3 years will be baked or mined all Bitcoins up to 21 million. After that, what will happen? Probably it will be some gold standard or will be changed the name, but the amount and as a gold reserve will be used for the trading and the payment between different parties. And most countries probably will be accepted as a currency and used for the transactional processing and the payments instructions between different parties. About the protocols and everything, that is something that should be in the next years achieved and transparent between parties. There are stories about high electricity consumption, about sustainability, but it's for another session that we can talk about it, how it is really in energy consumption happens. I can show you the examples, how it's really sustainable and how the Bitcoin mining could be pretty the low level of consumption and how it really works. It's not always like looks like from the big stories. Thank you for attention. That's the last slide for this session. If you have any questions, please just, I see one question. Where blockchain is used in addition to economics, and what are the experience of learning such applications says in medicine? Okay, Natalia, that's actually my area of expertise in the e-health, actually in the digital health. In the healthcare, we start with such a big amount of data, the bunch of data. The first point is when we are dealing with data, the problem is by sharing data. Everyone can see your data. Just to simplify it, how that could be achieved. EHR or personal health record means that in one file is stored all data about one person, about patient actually, and he's the owner of the data. Up to now, with the blockchain, of course, by using the blockchain. Of course, up to now, we have thousands more copies of personal health records of one person, of one patient, over the different parties, from the ambulance, from the hospital, from the surgery, from the medical store, drugstore, and so on and so on. In the case of using the blockchain, there is no necessary to be stored on all places. The person will take care about its own personal record and share it with the parties only when it is needed, and only the transaction actually will be stored on the blockchain, not the personal data. That's one point. There are so many points about having that in the healthcare, in the medical field. I have more the 30 presentations in the implementing actually in the healthcare, from the simplest health records and up to the biodata in the biobank by pathology and so on and so on. And just to mention, 2017, I've got the first world award on the eHealth Summit in Berlin for the innovation with the blockchain and implementing into the healthcare. We can talk also about this one, but it's really applied already in the healthcare. More questions?